Let's face it, no matter what business you're in, you need to keep your brand and your messaging and your people in front of your prospects and your customers all the time, or else they forget about you. And that's the last thing that you want to have happen. So, in order to stay in front of your customers and your prospects, you need to understand not only what their problem or pain point is, but how can you help provide information so that they can make the best decision for them, which is ultimately and hopefully to purchase from you, right? That's the goal. We all want to stay in business, and the only way to do that is to generate sales. And we can't go from starting our business to automatically generating sales. There's a lot that needs to happen in between. But when it comes down to marketing and content and finding your customers and creating content and knowing how to take them from point A to point B to ultimately buying from you, there's a lot of steps that go in between. And it's just important for us all to know what those steps are. But I'm going to keep it simple in today's video, and I'm going to review 3 tips that can help you go from who are you to I want to buy from you. But first, this HubSpot study revealed some really interesting statistics that I want to share with you as you start pondering your content thoughts and how you can generate more sales in your business. Here's the first one. A HubSpot study revealed that buyers feel that when they have a great sales experience, that 69% say that it's because their salesperson listened to their needs, and 61% said that they weren't pushy, and 3, they said that the salesperson provided relevant information. I can bet that if they extended that message, it would be they provided relevant information at the right time, right? So you're not going to present a case study if somebody doesn't know who you are, because there's too many points in between that need to be presented or that need to be researched, or opportunities to educate them on who you are before you actually present a case study. So understanding those different points in a customer journey to buying from you is what's really going to help you understand what type of content to create along the way. Now, if we want to keep the sales experience super simple, we can break it down into 3 categories. Most people tend to think of the sales funnel, right? So you have a top, a middle, and a bottom. That's the simplest way to look at carrying a sale from getting to know you to actually giving you money or a credit card to buy your services or products. And if we look at the different types of content that you're creating, chances are pretty high that you're doing most of the content creation process at the top of the funnel. You're providing a lot of information that helps your prospects learn about you, which is great because they're not going to buy from somebody they don't know or they don't like, and ultimately somebody they don't trust. But there's different things that you can do, different pieces of content that you can create along the way that can help them say, okay, I understand who you are and how you can solve my problem. Now, how can I get to like you before I can trust you and buy from you? And that top of funnel experience is going to be the educational type content. Hopefully you can't hear the lawnmower in the background, but I just can't find any time that's not noisy. I don't even know what I was saying. Content at the top level or top of funnel should be educational. It should be talking to pain points, and the copy that you include in that content should be something that attracts their attention. So think about what your prospects would be searching on Google. What are some of those keywords that they would enter to find a solution for that pain point? If I didn't know that bandages existed and I had a cut on my hand, I would be looking for something like, how do I cover a cut on my hand? And then those options would be presented to me, right? So think of the different pains that your prospects are going through and the types of keywords that they would be typing into Google, and not necessarily looking at only doing a blog post because that's, SEO friendly. Think through different ways to get their attention. Not only the keywords, so if it's, they've got a cut hand, it's how do I cover a cut hand, or how do I keep my hand from getting infected, or how do I keep from getting the blood from the cut on my clothes? There's different things that you need to think through of. It's not just the cut and the pain itself, but it's also the other factors around that they could be thinking about or they could be wanting to solve. So when you think of that perspective, that's going to help you create the content that you need to, and then present it in a way that's going to be super easy for them to understand. And the easier it can be for them to understand, then the easier and more likely it is that they're going to buy from you. So if we use the example of a Band-Aid, if you were going to create an infographic, you could look at the different scenarios, the different steps, hurt hand, go to sink, wash hand off with soap, dry it with a towel, apply a Band-Aid, or apply an ointment, then apply a Band-Aid. You've got your different steps that need to be taken in order to take care of that cut. You could even include time frames and alternative solutions if you don't have access to a sink. There's different things that you can look at and consider based on taking a step back and looking at your solutions, your products from your customer's perspective. The mid-funnel content is going to be information that's going to help them assess the information that you've presented, and then also other solution providers who are also presenting that information. So yes, it is realistic to think that you're not the only solution they're considering. The point at this stage of their game or their purchase is to find ways to stand out. If a lot of the competition or others in your industry are presenting blog posts or ebooks or directing traffic to Facebook or different sources, look at how you can be different and get them the answers and information they need sooner, easier, and in its most simplistic format so that they can go on to the next step. The situation with most buyers is that they want to, again, back to those statistics from the HubSpot study, is they want the information to be relevant. They also want it to be timely. Again, going back to a case study, when somebody doesn't know who you are, it just doesn't make sense. So I've mentioned it many times before, understanding your customer's journey. And when you know what that is, that's going to help you present the right information at the right time and in the right place. One of the things that you can do during the mid-tier funnel section is to look at repurposing content that you've already created, even if it is bottom funnel content. You can look at snippets of that information and either personalize it or customize it or present it in a way that's going to provide the information that they need when they need it, but not giving them everything where they're just either overwhelmed or you're creating gaps in what they know and what you're providing. The key here is to help create a seamless transition from who you are when they first recognize who you are, and to the point that they have learned to trust you, and then you present the purchase at that time. That can be a delicate slope depending on your industry or your situation, but just understanding again who your buyer is and where they spend time, that's going to help you create that process and navigate the journey until they buy. Content at this stage of their buying pattern needs to focus on value. So if there's one thing that you can take away from content in the mid-tier funnel section, it's value. A quick statistic, 68% of consumers feel better about a brand after consuming content that actually has some sort of value tied to it in this phase of the game. In the bottom of the funnel, where you want to really provide the meat of how you're going to help them by partnering with you. As if content hasn't already played a vital part of the buying process up to this point, which is now bottom of the funnel, 82% of buyers are consuming at least or considering at least 5 pieces of content from each of the winning vendors who have made it to this point. So if you have prospects that are still in the game at the bottom of the funnel and you're being considered, now is not the time to skimp out on any type of content or any type of messaging or value that you want to provide at this point. Now's the time to really ramp up your game and over deliver. If there's a way to create a personalized blog post or a personalized video or demo, now's the time to include that technology in your process and really over deliver on that proposition. When you incorporate something that's more personalized or customized to that person's particular needs, you are more likely going to be chosen because you've gone above and beyond, at least in their eyes, of over delivering and giving them something that feels like it's specific to them. it's almost as if nobody else matters, right? So if you can personalize it, you can customize it, you can make it very specific to their needs, then your chances just skyrocket of them choosing you. It's really very simple. Your sales process, the content that you create for each step along the way, really comes down to not just those 3 tiers in your sales funnel, but really it comes down to 3 things. It comes down to pain point. I have a pain. I need to find a solution. The second part of that is, what are the options? So they're going to be researching to find out what are their options. And then the third piece of that is, okay, I've narrowed down my choices to these vendors because they're most likely going to be able to fulfill this need or this pain point. Now, who do I choose? So when you think of it from that perspective, that's going to help resonate, or it should help resonate with you as to what type of high value content you should create at each stage of that process. The ultimate goal for all of us, again, to increase sales, right? We want to acquire customers. We want to provide a service. We want to help overcome a challenge. There's a pain point that we want to solve because we're the experts in our field and we want to make that happen. So understanding that and understanding where they spend time, how you can best resonate with them through your content, your messaging, and then your process and the overall experience that you can provide from that time that they make a connection with you until they buy from you is ultimately what's going to not only convert them to a customer, but help them stay on long term if that's your business model. So you want to make sure that you're doing that, and understanding your customer journey is really where it all begins. If you want more information on your customer journey, I will include a link here where you can watch some videos I've already created. I'll also include a link in the description for you to access there as well. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. And until next time, make today great.